All right. We've had an absolutely fantastic thing happen. Through the email system, we had a wonderful congratulation and an address for this conference from Prince El Hassan bin Talal of Jordan. And I'd like to start the conference by reading out his good wishes for us. And I think it's wonderful that he took the time to write to us. So he says, at the outset, I would like to congratulate the organizers of the Ministry for Peace Initiative for introducing this idea as a reflection of public feeling. We all want a peaceful environment for our families and ourselves. We all have something to contribute to a movement for peace among and between the peoples of a steadily shrinking world. To the extent that British democracy, popular opinion, and the pursuit of the public good are elements that work in parallel, a Ministry for Peace is the governmental institution whose time has come. In the USA at the moment, Congressman Dennis Kucinich has put forward a proposal for a US Department of Peace, as John referred to. The International Peace Bureau continues to bring together peace builders to promote international cooperation and non-violent solutions to international conflicts. Its publication, Peace is Possible, has compiled success stories from around the world to encourage further success. The Helsinki Citizens' Assembly has brought together Turks, Armenians, and Azeris to talk to each other. And I wonder, from my Middle Eastern context, what makes us think in our part of the world that our hatreds are any more profound or less resolvable. One of the differences between Britain and less developed countries is that you have a stronger civil society, and middle classes with the leisure and education to begin engineering change. In The Observer recently, I was interested to read a plea for more and better use of public space and public dialogue, following the Royal Society of Art's call for coffee shop conversation on public issues. There is no democracy without a demos. The public, as an entity, is formed through dialogue and exchange without the threat of losing or the desire of winning, as is too often the case in the so-called public debate transmitted by the media. I've told the story many times of how in 1994 in Aqaba, with my late brother, the late King Hussein, at the signing of the peace treaty between Jordan and Israel, I was asked by Israeli media, "What do you think of all this?" I replied, and I wish that my words had not subsequently been borne out by events, with all due respect to the personalities involved, peace is not just about talking heads. This peace will only succeed when it becomes a warm peace, a people's peace. With the late Sadruddin Aga Khan, I had the honor to chair an independent commission which reported to the United Nations on the desirability of promoting a new international humanitarian order. That was in 1983, and the proposal continues to be endorsed every year without being put into effect. We can promote the new economic order, the new technological order, the new communications order, but as soon as the words humanitarian and human rights appear, it seems that political reservations emerge. A new international humanitarian order means simply that we maintain a proper emphasis on peace for human beings, rather than a realpolitik of peace. In a democracy or a would-be democracy, isn't peace about the conscious, even the stubborn maintenance of peacefulness between people? This is why the role of interfaith dialogue in peacemaking within and between countries is not really about religions talking to one another. It's about the adherents of religions talking to one another. Over the past few decades, we've seen many meetings in which high-level representatives of the faiths have come together to proclaim a common ground between their beliefs and scriptures. Now we need to make this a people's peace. We need to find ways to bring together millions of individuals to talk to each other, not at each other, about their values, their convictions, their hopes, and their anxieties. It's said that if you want people to agree with you, just invite your friends round for dinner. But if you want to make a change in the world, you must find a way to talk to those who disagree, your enemies, and those who disapprove of you in some way. Technology has turned up the volume of our agreements and disagreements, but it has not taught us how to disagree. A civilized framework for disagreement might be one way to define the difficult word peace. Peace, to those who've seriously worked at it at a high level, is not merely the absence of war. It is a process which has to be continuously restarted with every new birth. It's easy for a human to agree peaceably with another. It's much less easy to disagree, And I think that the most important skill we can learn today is how to disagree or how to agree upon rules of disagreement. This means, as I have often emphasized, a code of conduct for state actors and non-state actors and a concerted effort towards broad compliance with that code. It means clear and unambiguous definitions of such terms as terror and terrorism. It means, at the level of the individual citizen, undertaking the responsibility to converse at a level which is not necessarily comfortable or reassuring with people very different from oneself, and to acknowledge agreements across cultural, religious, and political divides without having to resolve all disagreements first. As the Imam Shatibi said, each of us is to enhance what is universal and respect difference. In English, I think the word respect often gets glossed over with the concept tolerate. I do not want to tolerate you and have you tolerate me. I want to respect you and to feel that even if you do not respect me, you can respect what I stand for. Respecting difference in the end means acknowledging the right of another to believe sincerely that one is wrong. That is not easy. A Ministry for Peace as a government department might be expected to be more concerned about a foreign policy advisory role than about citizens conferencing. But I personally hope that this will not prove to be the case. I believe that for change to occur, any top-down approach must meet with a bottom-up approach, whether in a democracy or a dictatorship. The final authority of any political power is vested in the people's acceptance of that power, and the glory of a democratic system is that it recognizes this fact and builds upon it. If a Ministry for Peace is also a ministry for peacefulness, then I think we have reason to hope for a future in which our children can disagree without violence and agree to work together on shared problems.